What do you think it would be like to lead artificial intelligence for the CIA?
Unless you're in this strange shadow world that I inhabited for decades, most normal people don't think about that. Most normal people don't go into a career in intelligence and espionage. So
This week, we find out. I'm Jennifer Strong, and this is Shift.
Now here on the steering column is a device called Auto Cruise. You simply set the speed you want.
Self-driving robo-taxis are already on the road in US cities.
As the disk rotates, a mirror reflects the light in the way that depends on how the signal was recorded.
This is the 100 terabyte. I present to you Electro, the Moto Man.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I would say that one of my greatest skills is my ability to interact with humans.
This episode, it's the latest installment of our oral history project. Miro helps teams accelerate through the full innovation cycle, getting from idea to outcome faster. Miro's Innovation Workspace is an intelligent platform that brings people and AI together in a shared space. It's more than just putting a bunch of ideas on a board. And you can quickly build on your ideas without needing the perfect prompt. The work you're already doing on Miro's canvas is the prompt. Help your teams get great done with Miro. Check out Miro.com to find out how. That's MIRO.com.
From Zuckerman Spader. For 5 decades, Zuckerman Spader has been a leading litigation firm trusted by in-house and outside counsel, businesses, and individuals. With offices in Washington, Baltimore, New York, and Tampa, Zuckerman Spader serves clients throughout the country and around the world in high-stakes disputes, enforcement matters, investigations, and at trial. When the lawyer you choose matters most. Online at Zuckerman.com.
think of smart buildings, smart cities, think of traffic sensors, think of camera systems, think of you name it. Plus, add into that next generation wireless communications and satellites and undersea sensors, like all that stuff is out there. And now imagine your job is to do something completely secret that nobody will ever discover, ever. My name is Jennifer Ewbank, and a year ago plus, I retired from government after 36 years in national security. My final role was Deputy Director of the CIA for Digital Innovation. If there's a long description and a short one, the short one is my job was to build the future of intelligence. And the longer version is that it involved all the ones and zeros, this invisible mathematical space of ones and zeros, as I used to call it. And so it was enterprise information technology, global secure communications, cybersecurity, cyber collection and analysis, open source intelligence, data strategy, artificial intelligence, training and education for the CIA workforce on all that stuff. And there are a bunch of other little bits and pieces that were hanging off of this Christmas tree. But that was in essence it, bringing together everything that's powered by ones and zeros and that enables, everything from the way you do business to the way you conduct espionage to the way you write analytic products, you name it. Just as digital tech is affecting everything we do in our lives and our work outside of this sequestered world of intelligence, the same was happening there. If you step back and you think about it, each piece of that puzzle reinforces the others. And so there was magic and wisdom in bringing them all together when the CIA reorganized in 2015 in order to get ahead of this whole wave of digital transformation. There was a realization that we needed to do this in order to be competitive and to win the race for digital tech and the race for supremacy in that field. And so there was a lot of wisdom, not to say that it was an easy decision and not to say that it was non-controversial. There were plenty of people who thought it was not a great move. But if I were to pick apart, if we had a lot more time, I could explain in detail how each piece of that puzzle reinforces the others. But actually, one quick example is, and I used to think of this as CIA's superpower in a sense. So We were the only organization that I ever knew that brought cyber collection, so the lawful, authorized hackers who target selectively bad guys around the world, and cyber defenders within one overarching organization, and then the data and AI people. And so if you think about it, having a defender's perspective when collecting in the cyber realm and having a cyber collector's perspective when trying to defend against really capable adversaries, it is, like I said, it's basically a superpower. It was brilliant. And as far as I know, one of the only places, if not the only place, where that happens. Okay, it's intuitive, right? You know that AI is going to be very important. But let's just roll back the camera. We don't have to go back that far. When I took that post in 2019, people weren't thinking this way. And what I had seen coming after years and years of working around the world on the human espionage side of the intelligence business, what I had seen was this arc of technological innovation and how that was affecting our unique mission and how it was being used by our most capable adversaries around the world. And so I arrived in that role eager, passionate, driven, because I knew we had to, as I would tell people, get AI right. I framed it in 2019 as an existential issue. We either get it right or we are completely obsolete in short order, much to the detriment of our national security, in my opinion. And so it was about leveraging the power and the insight of what was at that point an exponentially increasing volume of open source data. So think publicly available information, commercially available information, all the stuff that's out there. I mean, today it's, what's the estimate? 20-something billion sensors around the world are collecting data. And so there's power in that. So the ability to extract insight from that can only be done by machines. I could never hire an army of people to sit there at computers pounding away to look at data in a way that AI could. And so we had to get that right if we were really going to do a few things. One is to succeed in the world of human espionage, which was getting harder and harder and harder. Maybe we can pull that thread a little bit later, in order, and then also to extract insights from otherwise unusable information out there to help strengthen and refine our analytic products. So those are the products that go to the president and to policymakers, objective analysis, and we needed those insights. And then the third piece, I think anybody who's at a company today will understand this intuitively. We had this large, complex organization, globally deployed and dispersed, doing the broadest range of things you could possibly imagine. So imagine all the back office work that you have to do to make that happen, the business functions, the business operations. So we couldn't, again, continue to just hire people to, move papers and process vouchers and all those things that experts do even today. But we needed to scale using machines as partners. So AI was either going to be something that we got right, or we would just be obsolete in short order. Your job is to find somebody who has access to sensitive secrets that America needs, to recruit that person, to collect those secrets, to keep that person safe, to keep that person alive and never be discovered. And it is mind-bogglingly hard in this world of ubiquitous sensing. I used to tell people there's almost nothing you can do, nowhere you can go, nothing you can say, no one you could contact that isn't going to be registered by something, some device, some sensor is out there. And so that's a bit of a thought experiment. Just imagine trying to do that job in that world. And you have to do it, because I've heard people challenge the notion that human intelligence is even relevant in the digital age. They've asked this question, like, is human intelligence, the insiders call it human, is human dead? And I would just say absolutely not. There are always going to be secrets that are really only in the minds of, I used to say, despots, terrorists, others. Just think back, Osama bin Laden was not on phones and on a computer system. He didn't have, he didn't have an army of cyber hackers. So it took 10 years to find him, but by golly, we did. But think about that. There are going to always be those key threat actors who are not reachable through digital means. And if they are, that's fine. What you can find out is what somebody is doing now. You cannot always find out what they're planning and what they're intending for the future. And that's the magic of human. So human is more important than ever. But I think of it as a smaller and smaller piece of the pie, if you will. This world of open source information is vast, and it's gone from kind of supporting role to center stage of the intelligence world, because everything that you can collect lawfully, ethically, and analyze with digital tools combined with human expertise, that's the foundation. And that foundation supports everything. And so what it's doing is narrowing the range of things that are truly, truly, truly secret. And we think about collection methodology in the intelligence world as kind of climbing a ladder of sophistication and risk and audacity at the top, where you use the least intrusive method always for all sorts of reasons. One is just practical. So anything you can collect lawfully, well, it's all collected lawfully, but openly through public information, commercially available information, you want to do that. And reserving for that very top of this pyramid, those things that you really, 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 truly cannot collect in any other way. That process is really, really hard. And I've heard experts debate this. There are those who think the future is going to be all digital, all technical, or that the answer to this challenge of conducting human intelligence operations is technology. The answer is a black box technical tool. And then there are others who say, no, it's back to the future. For those who are aficionados of espionage, it's dead drops and surveillance and all the things from the analog era that were so thrilling when I joined the CIA. But I'm here to say, and I think I can say this with some authority, that it's neither of those. It's really about the right partnership of human and machine and figuring out that seam and how they can both leverage each other. And that's the magic. It's really about the human-machine partnership.
Ready to turn your good ideas into great results? Miro's Innovation Workspace is a faster way to get there. It helps teams accelerate through the full innovation cycle, getting from idea to outcome faster. Miro's Innovation Workspace is an intelligent platform that brings people and AI together in a shared space. These days, I'm hosting 2 shows and curating the storytelling for several live events. My team can use Miro for road mapping. That is, outlining a product plan over time in a visual way, with key features, milestones, and release schedules. We can also use it to work on new concepts. Miro has been empowering teams to transform bold ideas into the next big thing for more than a decade. Now, they're at the forefront of bringing products to market even faster by unleashing the combined power of AI and human potential. Here's how. Teams can work with Miro to turn unstructured data, like sticky notes or screenshots, into usable diagrams, product briefs, and data tables in just minutes. It's more than putting a bunch of ideas on a board. And if you're like me and worn out by having to master ever more tools in your software toolbox, this is much easier than that. Because you can quickly build on your ideas without needing the perfect question. The work you're already doing on Miro's canvas is the prompt. Help your teams get great done with Miro. Check out Miro.com to find out how. That's MIRO.com.
This show is supported by Blue Land. You've probably heard that most of us are eating a credit card's worth of plastics every week, but you probably don't know that you're cleaning with microplastics every day. It's time to make the switch to Blue Land. Blue Land is on a mission to make it easy for everyone to make sustainable choices. From cleaning sprays and toilet bowl cleaner to dishwasher and laundry detergent tablets, Blue Land's formulas are 100% microplastic-free, made with certified clean ingredients, and free from chlorine, bleach, and harsh chemicals. All Blue Land cleaning products are safe to use around your family, your pets, your plants. Plus, Blue Land was named an EPA Safer Choice Partner of the Year, so they're good for the planet as well. Blue Land is trusted in over 1 million homes by people who love not having to choose between the safe option and what actually gets their home clean. Blue Land has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/PRX. Make the switch to Blue Land now by going to blueland.com/PRX for 15% off. That's blueland.com/PRX to get 15% off.
I frankly fell into it. It wasn't a plan. I went to university at Berkeley, and trust me, nobody at Berkeley in early 1980s said, I'm going to join the CIA. That just was not in the realm of possibility. But I did join the State Department as a Foreign Service officer in the waning days of the Cold War. And I had lived abroad and I spoke a foreign language, and I just wanted to see the world and understand the world and experience it all and meet new people and learn new languages, just devour it. That's what I wanted in my life. And so I was very lucky to join the Foreign Service, and I was there for about 8 years, spent 5 years in Southeast Asia at that time, Thailand and Burma. The Cold War had just ended. Like a lot of organizations in government, State Department was also thinking, okay, well, how is our mission going to change, et cetera. And I had gone in thinking I'm going to fight global communism. And I know that sounds quaint and a little bit corny these days, but that's what I felt in the 80s. You know, I was going to go fight communism as a diplomat, right, with words and pencils. And so that mission changed. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I should go try something else. And along the way, I had met people from the CIA. And luckily, someone, in this case, my sister, had sent my resume in through a friend without telling me. And I literally got a phone call one day out of the blue from a recruiter. I feel bad. I've told this story so many times to people, but the call literally went something like this. I'm from the CIA. And I said, yeah, right. Really? And I said, yeah, right. And a couple weeks later, I was knocking on the door of a room at the airport Marriott in San Francisco to meet some random guy who said he's from the CIA. And I was intrigued. Public safety note, don't allow your daughters to do this. I guess I mean that because the world has changed. But I was intrigued. And somehow, just in that outreach, I thought, maybe that's what I'm looking for. Something that gave me an opportunity to take a really active role in building national security and protecting it. And that allowed me to satisfy my urge to be a bit adventurous and unconventional and maybe a little bold at times, even brave from time to time. So that really tapped into something in my heart, and that set me off on decades in this crazy career. So it was a great run for me. It's something I recommend for people who have that sense of adventure, who are resilient, who understand that jobs like that come with a lot of sacrifice. But there's tremendous satisfaction when you've accomplished something, even if it's secret. If a terrorist attack is thwarted, if you've learned something really important about a rogue country's weapons of mass destruction program, or lots of hypotheticals I could throw out there. When you accomplish that alone or as a team, there's nothing like it, I have to say. In the commercial world, it's pretty much widely known. The most capable competitor out there in terms of technological development and capabilities is going to be the People's Republic of China. Now translate that into sort of geopolitical, geostrategic terms, and you realize that there indeed is a race for AI supremacy afoot. And the way I viewed it, even as early as 2019, is that the CIA had a really important role to play in that. Of course, it's Silicon Valley and all the amazing innovation that happens in the US and its policymakers and lots of others, but the CIA had to be, our euphemism was always the pointy end of the spear. We had to be out there ahead, and we had to win that race for AI supremacy, because that's how we were going to extract insights on the plans and intentions of our adversaries around the world. And that's how we were going to defend against a very sophisticated, very capable, very well-resourced adversary in the form of the Communist Party in Beijing. So I think that contributed to my phrasing of it being an existential issue to get AI right and to drive a sense of urgency in it, because it really was urgent. It wasn't tomorrow's problem. It really was today's problem. I find myself thinking a lot about the emerging bifurcation of the digital world, that we're seeing the emergence of these dueling blocks, one led largely by the US and our closest allies around the world who are leading in technological innovation in democratic societies, and then one largely led by PRC. And within those blocks are all the kind of dull policy things that people don't really want to think about. It's standards, for example. That doesn't make for great press, but it's vitally important, and it is where this competition is playing out. And so I ask people from time to time to play a little thought experiment and just imagine if the internet itself had been developed, created, and deployed by People's Republic of China at that time. Little disclaimer, I actually give China a great deal of credit for their development leaps that they have made in decades. They have lifted millions and millions and millions of people out of poverty in a way that is almost unparalleled in human history. And so I give them a lot of credit for that. At the same time, digital technology, the systems and the standards are optimized for the acquisition and maintenance of government power and monitoring and controlling society. That's what they're optimized for. For all of our faults, and I'll say euphemistically the West, it's not just the West, it's lots of partners elsewhere around the world. For all of our faults, largely it's optimized for the creation and sharing of human knowledge, the democratization of knowledge, I used to say about the internet. It is designed to promote innovation, to help advance society and our economies and lots of other things, but it's not intentionally designed as tools of systemic control. So if the internet had itself been created in that alternate universe, what would we be today? Like, the internet never would have been the catalyst for innovation and human development and knowledge sharing and all these other things that it has been. It never would have happened. And so I say that simply to highlight that I think it really is important what's happening with the development of these dueling blocks. And it's not just AI models, it's all the other stuff. It's all the other stuff that powers it. It is data centers and fiber optic cables and next generation wireless communications networks and satellite networks and GPS and alternatives to GPS. And there's a whole laundry list of things where you see the emergence of a parallel ecosystem. And that, to me, is a signal that we have a lot of work to do to strengthen partnerships with democratic allies around the world to ensure that we retain this vibrant capability that is generally a force for human development and knowledge. Not exclusively, it's got 1,000 problems a day, but I think most people don't sense urgency in that. It is the age of open source, and that will continue to expand. And open source, okay, great, but open source without AI is noise, right? It's not signal. That those AI tools as well are going to continue to develop and become even more sophisticated than they are today. We're going to be grappling. We see the increase day to day in disinformation and deepfakes, where that has an impact on the intelligence mission, obviously, because we need to understand what our adversaries are out there trying to do to affect things in the US. But it's also going to have huge societal impacts. It's not just a nuisance, it's really hitting at the foundations of trust in our country. I think about the intelligence mission and being able to build in both technical tools and tradecraft to deflect algorithmic manipulation at the individual level, at the societal level. We really have to think about that as a national security issue because, well, it is a national security issue. We just haven't quite gotten there yet because I think many people still just view it as a nuisance. And it's not. It's having serious impacts on us as a country. And our key adversaries look at these tools, deepfakes and disinformation, as a means of changing us, of driving fissures in our society, of exacerbating disagreement, all those other kinds of things. So I think the intelligence community is going to have an important role to play there to figure out how do you do that in near real time, in essence? How do you deflect that kind of societal algorithmic manipulation? And then the other piece, this probably isn't intuitive for listeners who don't come from the world of national security or intelligence operations. Ethics and values play a huge role in everything we do. And so there's a defining question about the future of intelligence. As we adopt all these new technological tools, as we, kind of push the boundaries of what's possible in order to compete with, I would say, outpace adversaries around the world, we really have to make sure that we're building AI systems that will help us strengthen democracy, privacy, civil liberties, all of that, Because if we don't, in essence, we're giving up that fight and we're allowing adversaries to weaponize these tools against us. Lots of layers in there. The intelligence mission is going to continue to be more challenging, but man, I have incredible faith in the ingenuity and the commitment and drive of these experts who remain in the intelligence community. I'm no longer there. Every so often I slip into present tense when I'm talking about it because I still feel so connected. I don't know that I've ever seen a large group of technologists who are as committed, who are as driven and as creative as I saw at the CIA. These are all people who could be running their own companies, having incredible impact in industry, and they choose to serve their country in silence, right? In the shadows. So they're who give me real confidence that we will continue to be able to innovate and outpace our adversaries in the digital domain.
This episode was produced by me and Emma Cillekens and mixed by Garret Lang, with original music from him and Jacob Gorski. Thanks for listening. I'm Jennifer Strong.
This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.